Okay, hello everyone. We are in the middle of our version 15 design reviews, and this is another one about external evaluate cells. And
Hello. Yeah. Hi, everyone. Today we are going to discuss first the external evaluate cell, and then if we have time, there is also something about managing project with cargo. But let's get this done first. So we have the UX that we designed with Noah. I can bring it up in case we
why don't we
want to
just
take a
look
look
at
at
the
it.
deployed version, and then we'll come back to the UX if we
Yeah.
have
So
questions.
basically, if you run this code now, it doesn't work because there is a dependency, etc. So what I can do with this new control?
Okay, let's
uh,
start from the beginning. Okay, let's start from the very beginning, right?
Yes.
So, okay, just type a greater than sign on a line separately, independent greater than sign. Okay. So I'm not a big fan of having all this crud at the top here in that case. Why is your cursor red? Is that just your choice?
Might be, yeah, might be what macOS is doing now. It's the accent color, I think.
It's
Yeah.
not the accent color, unless it's some newfangled version of macOS. I've never seen a red cursor. Anybody want to comment on that?
I think it's just he's got his accent color set to red. Ricardo,
do-
select something. Drag, select some text. Oh, that is. I'm not sure, Stephen.
Well, but I'm just checking that we haven't somehow. What the hell is that?
Oh, it is. Yeah. No. It's his system. It's his system accent color.
It's
red.
it's Ricardo having set a different system option on macOS for selections like that.
Okay.
It's not
right.
normally red. It's not a bug.
Okay. Okay. Is it easy for you to make a change that makes that font smaller for that session thing? Is that easy for you to just change right now, or is that going to be I really like
Not
to see
really.
it smaller. Okay, all right, fine. It's way too big. At the very least, it should go down by a couple of points. And I don't understand why it says, it's very repetitive. Python session, default Python session. I mean, why is it saying? See what I'm saying?
Right. So default Python session is the name that we assign to your session when you create one. That is the default name. And Python session just states out that this is a Python session. So in general, when you select another thing, for example, I select like this one, it gets randomized to a new one. And so you don't see default Python
What
session
is that
anymore.
Clayox? I thought we killed the rhinoceros elephant name thing. What is that?
I think we decided.
We agreed we're not going to do that, right? We're not doing
yes.
that. So what is that?
Right. But I think in one of the version we had at some point, we decided that it's going to be one word and not two. So one word and a random ID, I think.
It's not a word. We can't have a word like rhinoceros come up there, okay? Why is it that it isn't just an ID? Why do we need two
Can be an ID.
UUIDs?
It can be an ID.
Why do we need two UUIDs?
Well, it wasn't the point was that you want to be able to recognize these IDs easily apart, right? And if it's just sort of a seemingly random collection of characters, it's harder to do that.
Then why don't we just
Whereas
use
if it's got
1,
like
2, 3? I mean, how many of these sessions are you going to have running at the same time?
The number of the session I cannot.
I know, but in practice, you're not going to have a very large number of different sessions running. So why not just have a number or a single letter that represents the session, followed by a UUID? Do you understand what I'm saying? The fact that you say 0A, whatever it is, look at another session. Do they always start with 0 something or other, like hex?
It's gonna be an hash of the. It's gonna be an hash of the session information. So
all right.
in general,
So why not do this? Why not have a hash and then the prefix of the hash is a letter that is, A, B, C, D, E or something, right? So that you get the best of both worlds, and you're not spraying rhinoceroses all over the place.
we can try that. Yeah.
Okay. Next point. In that heading there, why do we even say Python session? There's a great big Python icon on the left. What's the point? I don't understand.
I thought it made it clearer, but we could get rid of it, and it would just say session.
I think it's useful to have that, because otherwise, I don't know what session. What's that referring to? Is that my kernel? I don't know. It's just some weird thing bubbling up from the. It's the Python session.
Let's make this thing very much smaller, because really the only thing you need. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was coughing. I was going to say we should just match the font size of the cell labels. That seems reasonable. Those were presumably the smallest we could get away with while still being legible. So
yes, that's fine.
Yeah.
And maybe also make that black slightly gray, and so on. Okay.
Sure.
All right. Now let's go see what's in the pull down there.
Right. Okay. So there are several things that you can do. The first thing here is just displaying the best we can session information, and it's gonna be either the session ID, the evaluator, the runtime that you're.
Okay. What's on the dot?
Dot are gonna be something to manage, for example, the life cycle of the session. So stop it. So I can press it in order to stop it, and it should display inactive now. I can copy the external evaluator object so that I can paste it, and use it.
Yeah, that's nice.
Right. Okay, here, for example, so I can format the code. I can configure a new evaluator because this one isn't working. And so it pulls up, form function interface, basically.
Nice.
That allows me to input stuff, and emoji is already precompiled because it was in here. So I do create, then I press Shift Enter. Yeah, now it works. And now this should work also, when you send this notebook to another person, they can just press Shift Enter, and it will work now that it's configured to use this and that dependency. And
I understand. It has a session ID in it, so I don't understand what happens with that session ID.
Right, the session ID, when you stop it, so this is persistent.
Can you save this notebook, quit the kernel, and show me what it looks like?
I think if I quit the kernel, some stuff might go away. I can try.
Well, but that's what we need to see. What happens?
Yeah, right. No.
Okay, now look at that pull down, please. I don't understand why. I don't understand. Is it the same ID of Python? Did a new session get created with the same ID or what?
Yes, the session ID is persistent, meaning that it means that cell is going to be attached to that particular session ID. Then you start the session with that session ID, and it's always going to be the same. So in theory, since the session ID is generated every time you create a new environment, it's got to be unique. And then the moment you use another cell, it will reuse the same session ID and will basically use the same session then.
It's more environment ID then, right? Not a session ID. Like session would be tied to a process, right? Or how do you work?
We set it both immediately. We set it both immediately. Now
okay,
I can.
I email this to somebody else. They're going to get the same session ID. Is that correct?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. All right. Let's see the rest of that pull down.
Okay. So here you can. Okay. So this one was the wizard.
Yeah.
This one you can select stuff that is on your machine, basically, and then you can also attach another running session. So
yeah, I get the idea. That's fine. So can you show the rest of the pull down, please?
Sure.
Format code. Okay. And what's that doing?
So format code was formatting the code.
I know that, but I'm asking, how did it work?
How does it work? It is doing an evaluation in Python, formatting the code. And
well, what about if this is SQL or something like this? What's it doing?
we have it for SQL as well. We don't have it for every language.
But what is it doing? How does it work?
It's using a Python package to do that. And the same for Node.js.
And why is it not using the thing that we built for, what is it called? Oh my gosh, the thing that
The code formatter, I think you're sort of
no. The thing that we built a standalone app to support. It's a feature of things like Visual Studio.
You mean LSP?
Yes, right. Language Server Protocol. Why is it not using that?
That is only for Wolfram language.
It doesn't support code format.
Oh, really?
It's not a code formatter. It doesn't.
And this is, yeah.
It's like for completion of symbol names and things like that. It doesn't format.
Okay. Do we have a WFR that does this code formatting for a string?
Not sure.
Well, we should.
Well, we have good formatting for Wolfram language, right? If you go to the
No, I understand that. I understand, but I'm saying for these external languages, we might as well provide, as a function, take a string and format it.
Oh yeah. If Ricardo, what are you using? What Python package is this? We can wrap that and put it on the function repository. I think that's what Steven is saying.
Yeah, sure. I think it's Pygment.
Just Pigment? Okay. We may already have that actually.
Yeah, we
check.
have pigments, and we've done a bunch of stuff with pigments.
May need to be updated, but it's yeah, that can be done, Steven.
Okay, all right, okay. So now, okay. So what else are you showing here? This is the way that this is the code level version of what's happening here. Is that correct?
Yeah. So basically, let's say that you want to create a more complicated thing where the wizard doesn't allow you, for example, to input standard output function and things like that. So you can start it, select it. This is the name now.
Wait a
Right,
minute.
see, I put it in here.
I don't understand. Why isn't there just a function that starts? What are you doing here?
I'm starting a session that I'm going to use, for example, I can just use that, right? Now I want to attach it to a particular cell. Now it's attached.
How did you attach it? Show me how you attached it.
Use a running Python session, and then I select it.
Wait a minute. Session ID evaluator. What does that mean?
This is something that I created.
Oh, I see. It's
My
named
session
evaluator. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can name it so that I can find it easily.
Yeah. No, I understand. So show me the pull down. Okay.
Yeah. So now when I select it, it runs with, you see, this custom printing function that was using Gecko and $C70, for example. This is going to be.
I would recommend that in these IDs, session IDs. Okay, why don't we do this? Why don't we have letter number like A7 or something for, yeah, maybe that's okay. A1 through A9, and then B1 through B9 and so on. So that way we get 200, well, about 250, whatever it is, distinct sessions. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, right. You make the hash. No, you want that to be a string. Okay.
Yeah. So normally I'm using this one.
Run as 2. Run the hash of 2, please. Oh, it doesn't. Okay. All right. Okay. Fine. Okay. So what I'm suggesting is that you just have a prefix that says A1 dash blah blah blah, A2 dash blah blah blah. See what I'm saying?
I see.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
No,
and then we only
display.
And then we only display the first 2 letters or 3 letters or something.
You should add an ellipsis if you're going to do that. But I was actually about to suggest the same thing. I think that would be, it'd clean it up a bit, wouldn't it?
Right. A1-14E, ellipsis. Do you see what I'm saying? No, I don't put a dash there. No, that's not right. There's no dash there. Okay, it's A1-14E, but type A1 at the beginning of the string, please. No, don't delete that. Don't delete that. Put that back in. At the beginning, type A1-14E ... Do you see what I'm saying?
Okay.
Do you understand the point? We're not having a stupid rhinoceros there. We're having something which is somewhat memorable, like A1, A7, etc., etc., etc. And then the thing that is following it, the suffix, is something that is essentially a UUID.
For some reason, I was picturing the first letter capitalized.
Yeah,
so it looks a bit more sort of, this is the thing that we've assigned.
Yeah, that's fine.
No.
Turn
Not
that into
the,
lowercase. The hash stays exactly the same as it was before, right? But I don't even know why we have the hash there, because if we're assigning things, A1, I mean, what are we going to do? We could have the possibility that A1 wraps around. Am I making sense? Oh, I see. It'll disambiguate between a different. If somebody sends their A1.
Yeah, the session needs to be unique, basically.
No, it needs to be globally unique, right? So there's an A1 session that I could create, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I send it to you, and you would have your own A1 session, but it's disambiguated by the trailing suffix. Am I making sense?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, that will work. And then it's just a matter of eliding, some of it.
Well, is that the way around we want it, or do we want the suffix, the 14E ... dash A1? Do you see what I'm saying? Because otherwise it will be rather confusing, because you'll see the A1 that is your A1. The question is, are people going to be seeing foreign sessions often? Do you understand what I'm asking?
Yeah, in general, you won't have collision regardless of the fact
I know
that
there won't be a collision, but the whole point, your reason for introducing the rhinoceroses was to have a way so that you could readily recognize which session was which, right?
Yeah,
whether it came from you or came from somebody else.
Running, exactly. And
right.
If you have a 10 session running, then probably 2 letters are
right.
enough.
But so listen to what I'm saying. The question is, do we have 14E whatever, or do we type another line, please? Type another line. Type another line underneath. Copy that. Now type ... No, at the beginning of the line. Just ... 78J or something like this. No, lowercase j. Lowercase j, please. Dash A1. No, capital A1. I actually think that might be a better idea. Do you understand why I'm saying that?
I'm not sure.
It is weird with the
It's
ellipsis on the
not
left.
difficult.
Like, I get why you're saying it, because the first thing you see is the thing that is kind of much more likely to be unique, right? You see the 78J first. That's the thing that's more likely to be unique.
Right.
And it's just weird with the ellipsis on the left.
I don't know why. I don't think it's that weird. Think about credit card numbers or something. You often see, or account numbers or something like this. They give the last 4 digits or something.
No, that's true. Right? Yeah, that is true.
But what is the reason why you want to put it at the end? Because
it's very simple. It's very simple. Here's why. If you got sent a session from somebody else, right, and it was the first session they created, it will be an A1 session as well.
No, it won't be an A1 session. It will be whatever is the hash of the session.
No, that's not right. What we're saying is, okay, that's a different strategy you're suggesting, that the A1 comes from another hash. What I had in mind here is that the A1 is literally, the first session is A1, the second is A2. That's what I said before, right? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, sure. And then you want to append a unique identifier. Yeah.
Right? So, alternatively, we could decide that a 2-letter combination like that, if it says C7, D19, or D9, that's enough for you to be able to distinguish them. We can't spend much longer on this particular topic, right? But that's fine too, to have those things be random. So the first one you generate is not A1. It's, J7 or something. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, that will be my reference.
Okay, so then it could be the first form, but the first two things are always based on a hash. I don't know how you make that hash, however you want to make the hash. It doesn't have to come from the same hash, it could be a different hash. Are always letter, digit. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. I think we should skip 0 in the digits. Am I making sense?
Yes, or I can take it from...
No, not there. Not there. In the main hash, the second element, we do not need to skip 0. I'm saying we don't want J0 because I think that will lead to questions that we don't need to ask. Do you see what I'm saying? In the prefix. See what I'm saying?
If there is a 0, what are you going to do? Skip it?
No. Oh, for God's sake. You can make a hash where you do it make an integer hash. Do it mod, 10 or mod 9 and, with a comma 1. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, sure. Or what? Because you want the first part to be always not 1 or something else, right?
No. Let's be very clear. Do I need to write this piece of code? We want capital letter, digit, not including 0. That's the prefix. The thing that follows it is a base 36 string. Make sense?
It's a reference for users to easily differentiate the sessions. It's just something added to the ID.
Yes, exactly. Right. Make sense? Can we move on? Do you understand, Ricardo?
I think so. In any case, I can do it with Noah and yes.
Okay, Noah, you fully understand, right?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, but not to extend this too further, but I actually think that naming them A1, A2, A3 as you're making them is going to make it clearer what they are. And I would just use the second line you've got there, which is that A1 comes at the end, and it's named in the order that you made them.
Well, I'm happy with that. If that can be done, I'm very happy with that.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. All right. Let's move on now. Let's more to see in this. This looks nice.
Right. Okay. Now let's talk about something entirely different, which is, we have been putting some effort in automating the build of cargo projects. So let's see. Let's start with some code. I will just open what a cargo project I have here. And basically, all you need to understand is that we have at some point, for example, this one is creating a Unix time function. This is the file that cargo wants in order
This is for Rust, right, Stephen? You notice that this is the sort of the make system for Rust.
Okay.
Okay.
But I mean, it's basically like a make file.
Yes, it's a declaration of all dependency.
I'm just explain it to me, okay? A make file, make in Unix, right? There is a make file that describes how to actually build stuff with dependencies.
Yes, but this is more declarative way to do that. Yes.
Well, make files are declarative too.
It's very much related, Stephen. Make files are used to build C.
But is this
Cargo is used to build Rust specifically, I think, and it's just a well-developed ecosystem.
Why are we doing this? I mean, are we doing this for Rust code? Why are we doing this?
Why are we doing this? In order to automate the build of Rust programs.
Why do we care? We don't have much Rust code. Do we?
Indeed, but there are high-quality cargo library that you can just pull down, and they work. So, for example,
was this a project we agreed we were going to do?
Yes.
Yeah.
This came out of an earlier meeting, a GPU summit, where you discussed this with Tom and Ricardo and Fahim, who are here.
Okay. And this was on GPL?
Yep.
Okay. Really?
I can look it up for you if you want me to.
I don't remember it. Okay. All right. So then the objective here, let's review the objective. Is the objective to be able to do with Rust the same kind of thing that we can do with Python and C and Java and so on, to have easy ways to, link those into the system? Is that right, or is this something different?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah. And basically we are going one step further. Basically, we are pulling down the entire supply chain for the software, meaning that we are downloading cargo, Rust, and we are building everything on your machine by using always the same version of cargo. So if you use this program on another machine, there is not going to be build mismatch.
So I don't understand. I'm
a version
confused.
of Rust and I'm using another one.
Yeah, okay. I'm confused because the thing that we most want to do is to, for example, be able to make WFRs that have dependencies on external languages, right? We don't really want the building on your own machine is has to be done by the developer, but I assume, so you're explaining how it's built on a machine, and then the assets that are produced are then usable on any machine. Is that true?
On the machine, it has been built.
No. The whole thing we've tried to do with the compiler, the
same system
DLL
architecture,
stuff.
yes, but you cannot build for Mac something for Windows. That's
okay. So we need to solve that problem, right? Because what we do, remember what we've done, target system arrow all and all this kind of thing for the compiler. Yes? You know about this, right?
Yeah, Steven, this is designed to do exactly what you're saying, right? Because we don't want to build every binary and then ship it. Like your WFR, the author of the WFR doesn't want to build a Rust binary for every architecture. So they can just ship the source code. And this system will allow it to build on anyone's machine.
Okay, but
runtime.
That's exactly what we didn't do. That's what we did. That was plan A for, compiled code, which didn't work. So plan B was that what we ship is some kind of intermediate representation that
right. But plan A works much better with Rust because this cargo ecosystem allows it to just work. It can download everything it needs and do the compilation. It's all, it's
super fast.
Sort of a lot of, Ricardo can speak about the speed, but the idea is that this can run on any machine with no real prerequisites.
But if it's an API, for example, and you're calling the API once and it's like, ooh, whoops, we got to download everything and recompile it. That's not a good thing. See what I'm saying?
Right.
So how do we have an
jump in here, but
it's
cached once it's compiled once.
I understand it's cached. Right. I'm asking, how do we make something that is pre-compiled, just like we've done for the compiler and other things for putting into WFRs things with external assets?
There's a few cases, right? We as a company, Wolfram, right, can do this, and we can distribute these things all pre-compiled, et cetera, et cetera. Then there's users that just want to share, like their source code with another developer, right? And they can say, just run this function, and it compiles it one time on your machine, and it'll be, available from then on out.
So I've got another question here.
There's,
we've gone to a lot of trouble to support a bunch of external languages, and then I've said, okay, there's a wonderful ecosystem around Python. Let's say, let's just wrap 10,000 functions from Python, and that's like, oops, we can't find them. They don't really exist. They're mostly kind of cheap ripoffs of things we did 20 years ago, or they're things that are so specialized or so flaky we can't use them.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the story with Rust? Have we identified, let's say, 20 things that we care about using this setup for?
I don't have a comprehensive list with me. I have ideas on what can be done with the system immediately after. So, for example, is the syntax highlighting that we have seen. So one application of this guy will be
but we want more than that. We want Steven's making a good point. It's like we should not just do it for syntax highlighting, for example. We need to do a deeper dive.
Then there is DuckDB, for example, there are a lot of connectors for databases.
Which we already have. We already have database.
DuckDB, for example, we don't have it.
Which one?
DuckDB. It's a connector. It's a universal connector for several backends. And I mean, and that will be one usage at least for us.
Okay.
But we did learn something from the Python project, is that we already do have a lot of stuff. And right, like you're making a good point, Stephen. Like I'm a little bit concerned about this as well, that we need to look at these Rust libraries to see, what can we actually do with it. I don't think we've really deeply studied that yet here, but that does need to happen.
And I'm not seeing, outside users. We've got very beautiful Python encapsulation at this point. I'm not seeing a lot of pickup on my outside users in, wrapping Python capabilities with our, design structure and so on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, with that in mind,
this is a little bit different because this is, this compiles things to, like to libraries. So like.
So to DLLs or something like that.
Yeah, right. This is potentially useful for internal production purposes. Maybe Tom can speak to that to see if he agrees or not. Is
Tom here?
Yeah, he's here. I'm kind of curious what he thinks about that.
Possibly. I mean, I don't know for sure, to be honest. But having an interface to a packaging system seems not unuseful. So
okay, so I've got a question. Our foreign function interface, the libraries produced by this pipeline.
Yeah, that should work. They're C. They have a C bind. Rust has a C binding.
Okay, so the source that this works with is Rust code. Is that correct? Nothing else. Is that correct?
I think that's correct.
Someone who would tell me I'm not a Rust expert. I think yes, but.
And it doesn't include, for example, C code or anything.
There are ways to include C code, but then you enter basically a do-it-yourself kind of scenario where
that's not interesting.
Okay,
so this pivots on the question of whether there is Rust code that people care about integrating into our system.
Yeah.
Let's see. Nick,
that's definitely true.
On our live stream says we need Wolfram Engine Docker containers for all target systems for developers to be able to pre-build Rust link libraries with Jupyter libraries pre-installed.
We can look into that. We have Docker images, but they're for Linux only. We're planning to do Linux ARM going forward. Yeah, those are the two main ones. I don't think we're planning to do anything with Mac.
And we have a whole licensing mechanism that Jesse built for those things. Is that correct?
For Docker, yes, you can use license entitlements. So you can just create a license entitlement in your section.
Okay. So is the answer that yes, it works? And do we understand how it works?
Absolutely. We have major pieces there.
And do we understand the policies for it?
The policies in what sense? Sorry,
well,
policies
I mean, you have a license for a desktop, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Can you build one of these things? How does that work?
One of these things, you mean Docker image?
Yes, Docker images.
Yeah, that's possible. Yeah, if you're licensed, it works with service credits, right? So you go.
Okay. All right. Okay. Fine. That's been thought through. Fine.
Yeah.
Let's come back to this. Okay.
That's all really nice, actually. Yeah.
Okay. So what are we looking at here?
Right. So you have this library and you build it and it creates a folder with inside the dynamic library that
why is it splashing elapsed time a 4-digit thing? What was that? Kept on flashing elapsed time or something. Did you see that?
Run it again.
Just watch what everybody else saw.
I think it was. I think it was just the time estimate, Stephen. Probably like
no,
an initial time.
It said elapsed time, and then it gave that number, 4-digit number. Did you not see that?
This is coming out
seconds.
straight from std out. So I'm not sure what you've seen, but basically this is the output of all the programs that we are running. So some stuff.
Okay, run it again. Run it again.
If I run it again, nothing's coming out because now it's cached. So I can.
Okay. Okay. Then you can review the video. You can review the video. But did you understand what I was saying? If for some bizarre reason flashed elapsed time, and then it had a 4-digit number.
We'll take a look at the recording, Stephen. That's fine. We can move on. Gonzalo, can you make a note of it?
Sure.
Right. Why is it doing that? What's that giant thing? See that giant thing that it opened up?
That is probably a bug.
See that it happened again. 33289.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Did see that. But Ricardo, you say that's coming straight from standard out, or is that you?
Look, it's a bug. Okay, we can get it fixed, but it's a bug right now.
Correct. So, okay, so you load this bundle now with this other function, cargo load, and you can ask for several things to this function. One is the artifact, and the artifact will give you the absolute path of the dynamic library that was built.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. The other thing that can do is that if you are using Wolfram Library Link, which is our basically library that we are exposing in Cargo, you can do this decoration to your function. And we are now automating signature exchanging. So in this library function load, I'm automatically loading with a function that takes no argument and returns an integer. So you don't need to repeat this piece of code into your Wolfram language proper. Because you use this guy, you directly have now a library function load.
So I don't understand. What types are supported here?
Types that are supported are integer, float, numeric arrays, and
okay, but this thing here is I64 is some Rust type designation, correct, not our type designation.
Correct.
And so there's a translation from Rust type designation to a small set of our type designations, correct? But I don't understand what is that thing that says integer there, because we don't have a type called integer in the compiler. We don't have something called integer, do we?
No.
Can you say input form of out23, please?
Out23. This is rule delayed. Doesn't evaluate. So
I don't care. I want to see if that integer is a string or a symbol. What is it?
I think it's a string. Oh no,
it's not. So what the hell is it?
It's one of the library link declarations.
Yeah, it's an argument to library function load, right? So we have to look at the documentation there.
But why are we using I thought we used foreign function these days. Why are we using library link?
Because it dynamically directly maps to a library function load.
Tom, can you comment on that, please? Seems wrong to me. I thought a modern.
I can comment on that. I can comment. I can comment on that, Stephen. This is using Connor's work. Connor did a lot of nice work for Rust to make it integrate with the library link interface. So that's why we're using
several years ago, before the foreign function interface existed. Is that the point?
Yeah. Yes, but it's also the foreign function interface just sort of lets you call C functions, but the library link is more detailed, and Connor was able to, work on top of that to do there's a lot of, type translation and things like that that's going on in the guts of the library link Rust library that, you wouldn't get if you're just doing raw foreign function interface. There's a lot more middleware between you and Rust with this library link interface than there would be if you're just doing straight FFI.
Okay. All right. So your point is that the declaration comes on the Rust side. Okay. So I just asked a typical AI, what are the most popular Rust libraries? Okay. And what I'm seeing is serializing and deserializing data structures. Asynchronous runtime for reliable network applications. Safe and fast SQL query builder. Data parallelism.
There's some websites that have these.
I'm not seeing anything here that we care about.
There's some websites that curate these packages. We can take a look at that. We know how to do
that. Obviously. I mean, I know, but we had a pretty disastrous experience with with Python. One of the most popular is a random number generator. Come on.
Well, that'll be useful.
What's that?
I said that'll be useful.
Parser for Rust source code. We don't care about that. A lightweight logging facade for Rust. Well, we could have our own logging system. So, okay, regex, regular expressions for Rust. Do we care? Don't we already have that? Haven't we had that for 30 years?
I think we'll come to a similar conclusion. Is that there's a lot of stuff we already have. We just the
right,
question
but what is the stuff that we care about that we're going
exactly.
to that is
we
really
don't know.
going
We
to
don't
give us
know.
any leverage?
Right.
Encode and decode base 64 as bytes or UTF-8. Great.
We have that.
Obviously, we have that. Iterator, various iterators. Generate and parse UUIDs, brilliant. And I'm looking down the list of popularities.
I can put a link on the chat if you want to. I haven't found a good page for it.
Yeah, I have a big page too.
Okay.
This is really I'm down. I'm several pages in and I'm not finding stuff that we care about. Recursively walk a directory. Come on, we have that. Core random number generator traits and tools for implementation. Why are there so many random number generators? Maybe because there's no random function in Rust or something. Case conversion library. Protocol buffers implementation. Don't we now have protocol buffers in our import export? Do we not have that?
I don't know. I have to look that up. I don't know the top of my head.
Okay, a byte-oriented zero-copy parser combinators library. It's amusing if that actually worked. I'm really having a hard time here finding something useful.
Are you still looking at your AI output, or are you looking at?
No, I'm looking at a site.
Okay.
Standard library.
I mean, I'm finding something that's called Rust Bio, like a package for bioinformatics.
Great.
Might be interesting to take a look at.
Except we probably
especially if it's something computationally heavy and it needs to be fast, right? I mean,
I know. Rust is a fine thing, C-like language for being fast.
Right.
Okay, Unicode segmentation. That might be useful, except I bet we already have it. I'm just trying to get a realistic sense of what it is we would actually, make use of here.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. It's we need to find,
because there's no point if it's something that's Well, I got to the end of this list. No next page because this is everything. Okay, all right. Well, you've already built this. Is this true, Ricardo? I mean, we're finished with this. You're showing it to me in final form. Is that true?
Yeah.
Do you have a single example that you actually where you can build it and it's going to be useful?
Not yet. So, but what I was experimenting also is what kind of speed up I will have if I start replacing URL utilities function that right now are implemented in top level by using those compile function. And so I started, for example, doing URL encode and decode. I obviously have speed up when I have big list. For small sample, the speed advantage is negligible. But for example, the whole URL library is something that we can offload to a crate because it's something that we have built, and yes, we have tested, and yes, it's working okay. But for example, could be really use a standard implementation like the one that is done in the Rust crate. And so, for example, that would be another use case. And since we can lower the barrier about, putting those kind of binaries into the system, like, they can be individual packlets and they are easier to build, etc. It is something that can really lower the amount of time you need to spend on release engineering and all this kind
I'm
of stuff.
sorry, for what? What are we talking about? I mean, so by the way, Bob on our live stream suggested one package called Cova, which seems to be a thing for computational topology. Although we
How do you
literally
spell, how do you spell that? COVA?
COVA. Although we just built a bunch of this stuff. Nick and Pavel have been building a bunch of this stuff for our InfoGeometry project. But this might be interesting. I mean, it looks like a nice package. But
yeah, that's always the problem. Like, there's always an overlap. There's like a Venn diagram of stuff we already have, and you have to take a look at, what additional stuff it provides. Yeah.
Right.
It's not always trivial to do these things, unfortunately.
Well, I guess Nick could probably tell us immediately whether this is something useful or whether he just already implemented the whole thing.
Nick L? Or no, Nick M. Sorry.
Nick M.
Okay.
But thank you, Bob, for noticing this. That's a good example. Okay, so show us this design. So is the proposal that this is part of a packlet or what, Ricardo?
Right. So, I mean, there is a standalone function that is implemented inside this internal context, basically cargo build and cargo load.
No, I'm asking the question: are you trying to propose something that is supposed to be a system function?
Not yet. No.
Okay, so what are you proposing? You're proposing something that's going to be in a packlet for cargo stuff. Is that what you're proposing?
Initially, basically, we are going to use this thing internally in order to build stuff, and then if we have something that is
build what?
System level, it could be.
No, I'm sorry. Build what?
Syntax alignment, for example.
Something that we want. That's the one example we know. Okay. Right. Okay. All right. So syntax highlighting that can be used for our external evaluation cells. Is that correct?
Correct.
That'd be nice. That would be very nice. Okay.
You talk a little bit about, does this interact with ExternalEvaluate at all? And if so, how does it interact with that?
I don't think so. It's just a build system that makes libraries. Once it's loaded, then presumably the front end has to call that library. Is that correct? To do the syntax highlighting.
Yes.
And that's known to be workable, yes?
Yeah. Yes. We already met with John Fultz and discussed about it. Yeah.
Okay.
So there's no external evaluate of Rust, comma, and then the name of a function or something like that that you pre-compiled with this.
That we don't support Rust as a language that you can. I mean, it's a compiled language.
No, but we could. That's my question basically. Are we? Do we want that, or do we?
So we at the beginning I started. I was trying to create an interface for ExternalEvaluate in order to use Rust. But it will not be the regular model of ExternalEvaluate where basically you start a session and then you run some code in a global environment, etc. It will be something different. Or, I mean, there are ways to do a rep in Rust.
No, I'm sorry, I'm totally confused. We have, for compiled languages, we have the external function concept, right?
For example,
external function is just it's a function that lives on the other side. Yeah.
No.
But external function is part of the external evaluate business. And yes, Stephen, you're right. This has really it's not part of the external evaluate world here. This is more about, library functions making, once you've loaded this thing, you're calling these functions directly from the Wolfram language. You're not calling them from, a cargo cell or something like that. So yeah, it's just.
But the functions, when they're called, do they get presented as external function objects?
Not in this interface,
no. But also, Stephen, for the external functions, typically they live in a different runtime, which is in a different process. But here they are loaded into the kernel and it's the same address space.
But I thought that in the foreign function interface that you ended up with external function objects to call, and those are the same address space.
I don't think those are external functions from the ExternalEvaluate side. They are.
No, they're external functions from the foreign function interface, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but that means we have a pattern for designing how you call external functions in the same address space from a dynamic library. Am I making sense?
They're called foreign functions, the wrapper. In the foreign function interface.
Okay,
and on the screen here, it's called library function because it's using library function load. So that's parallel.
All right. Okay. So we have this thing. It's some kind of directory full of cargo, so to speak. Is that correct?
Yes. So basically, we create this folder that is inspectable, and you can load library functions.
This is pure Rust code, right?
Correct.
Okay, so now you take that folder with Rust code, and you have a function that creates a dynamic library that is linked in with LibraryLink. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay, so show us how that happens here. So that's this cargo build. Why is there a packlet object in the middle of this?
Okay, yeah. So as I was saying, cargo load and cargo build work on folders, but they can also work on a packlet. So
okay,
if
fine,
you have
great,
a packlet,
great. Let's not confuse things. I understand. Okay. Presumably the packlet could contain assets that aren't Rust assets, and it would ignore those. Is that correct?
Sure. You can have other things. For example, here there is a kernel extension, etc.
Okay, great. So it's only taking the ones which are cargo designated extensions. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Fine.
Then it finds all those projects, blah blah blah, and now it creates a unique bundle with all those libraries together. And so now when I do cargo load, I have a lot of functions now that are all the functions that I'm exposing.
Okay. How do I call those functions?
Right. So you extract functions here, you get back this association, then you extract the one that you want. So for example, you do
let's look at that one.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's a library
and
function.
Now you do correct. And now you do
I can just say
and you call it.
Okay.
You can do add, and then you call add.
Okay. And the data types that are converted are these raw data types. So there are no structures or anything like that. There are no lists, there are no structures. It's just raw integers and strings and so on, right?
In this case, yes, I'm wrapping only very simple functions. There is another type that the library function allows you to use, which is the data store, which is something that is documented into the library link and allows you to pass arbitrary data inside, such as strings, for example.
What the hell does it let you do?
Yeah.
What does it do? I don't understand. What does it do?
It's like a container for simpler data.
It's a container that you can pass into the library function as an input.
And then there's some library in the library function for deserializing that thing. Is that
yes.
right? Okay,
yeah.
so it's some kind of serialization protocol. Is it specific? Is it okay?
And so
and is there
yeah,
a
it's
Rust binding for taking apart these data stores?
yes, everything is documented into the library.
No. I asked a specific question. Is data store, is that our library or is that somebody else's library, this data store?
This is our library.
Okay, so then is there a Rust binding for the deserialization of data stores?
That's what you see on the screen, I think.
Okay, but
right?
so did you just write this? Where did that come from?
This is Ricardo's code.
This is something that I wrote, and I'm using the Wolfram library link library. And there is documentation on how to use data store.
I see. Okay. But that library for us is something written in what, C or something like that underneath?
This is Rust.
No. Answer my question. The data store library is...
Yes, this is the Rust code is calling directly into the library link,
which is C code or something.
Right. It's calling, the library link has an API for data store, and this is just a wrapper around that.
Great. Okay. I understand. Makes sense. Okay.
Right. And yeah, so more or less, this is all the code that you need in order to create, to call a Rust function on the
Why are we using begin package? What's all that about? If this was using the modern package format, what would it look like?
It works with whatever. This is just written before, or
and what's extension cargo?
That is the parklet that is currently exposing those two functions, cargo load and cargo build.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, wouldn't it naturally be called cargo link in our terminology?
Yeah, I think that's a good name.
Yeah, that
cargo
should be
link.
renamed. Yeah.
Okay.
And this is how you can call also binary. So you create. So your Rust code can actually produce a binary, and you can call it just with run process once you have the binary.
How do you make the binary?
It's all part of the cargo definition. So
how do you make it in our top level language? How do you make it?
Once you have it defined here, you do cargo build, and it comes out as a binary.
I see. Okay.
So you only need to define it here, and then this is going to be called hello world or hello calculator or hello demo, whatever it is.
Yeah. I can read that. I get that.
Yeah. And then you just run it. Yeah. And this was just another quick example to show you that I can build this Paglet now, install it on my machine, and simply call this API, and it will basically work.
Okay, so what functions do we think we're going to add to WFR that make use of this technology?
But for sure, we could add to WFR a simple, expose those two functions via WFR.
No.
That's
not my point. My point, we could do that, but my real point is, what, how long have you spent on this?
Start to say, could be 1 month combined with everything else.
Did we really agree that was going to be done? I mean, I don't understand this.
We did a live preview of this thing last time, the last live stream I did, and yes, I think he said it was a good idea. And
well, okay, but the amount. Okay, I think we need to. Okay, obviously you've got something reasonable. Call it cargo link. It's going to be a packlet. You could expose, since you've only got two functions, you could also expose them in WFR.
Right.
Right. which would be nice. But then let's go and see whether there's any libraries we can actually use. I'm distinctly not hopeful. I mean,
Well,
I'm always an optimist.
there's always the case
but...
of other, people have their own Rust code, right? It's not just
with
these links.
We thought that would happen with Python too. I haven't seen any examples.
Well, sometimes these examples don't show up publicly.
No, I understand. I understand. But I mean, it's still, we have very nice technology for that encapsulation. Very nice. Similarly, we're getting good encapsulation technology for R as well. And we have a good encapsulation technology for C. So it's like, we're using some of these things, but we're only using, it only makes sense for us to use them when it is profoundly, a profoundly valuable library that isn't like just a ripoff of something we did 20 years ago, which is, kind of like pointless.
Right. But we can tell the world, bring whatever language you like to work in, and it works nicely with our
I know.
system.
I mean, that would be great if people actually listen to that. They don't seem to. All right. Well, anyway, so this is basically finished now. Is that correct?
Yep.
Good stuff. All right. Well, sounds like we can end the live stream segment of this design review. So thanks everybody for joining us there.